Hey everybody, Mr. C here. With the Origin server beta a little over halfway, I thought I should come in here and give an update about a couple of things in comparison to when I streamed it on May 2nd. Now, if you want the full meaty details, I read the patch notes in full at the end, but I'll try to paraphrase the bigger points right now. If you don't know about the EverQuest 2 Origin server, it's an upcoming TLE where the server will be locked to a 2006 version that will not be affected by changes done on live. To start off, the class selection is now more accurate to its original 2006 state, with 4 of the classes for each archetype being locked to either evil or good, and 2 of those being for neutral. I say this because in the Prima EverQuest 2 guide, it's the same as they have right now. I think race-wise it's also accurate, with the only exception being Ratanga, as Ratanga is currently neutral, but we'll see if that changes. They have raised the experience required a level to their quote-unquote 2006 state, with the example they give being that level 10 to 11 took 3,800 experience, and now it takes 5,000 experience. And remember, it took a while to level up back in the old school days of EverQuest 2, so this is more or less on track. Also, time-accurate racials are back. I was hearing some saying that the live racials might be a little broken, so now we have the more correct racials, and again, confirming this is based off the EQ2 Prima guide, which I will also link to in the description. And on top of that, a whole bunch of fixing quests, abilities, stats, and a whole bunch of other stuff, and again, this is going to be at the end of the video if you really want to get the deep end of it. Now, I've saved the best or worst for last, the cash shop. They've recently added an NPC that's showing stuff for quote-unquote consideration to have in the cash shop, and I have some opinions. A metric ton of housing stuff, including the actual housing itself. I, for the most part, am fine with this, as houses are locked to player instances and shouldn't interfere with gameplay. My only complaint with it would be with the special awards that a house might get being picked by a dev, or maybe even the community, and those picking cash shop houses more over houses that didn't use any cash shop items. So that's my only real complaint. Experience pots. Currently, there are 3 levels of EXP and crafting pots, both separate, with those being 5%, 10%, and 15%, with none of those stacking. Again, I am mostly fine with this, as it's not like live where you have insane bonuses for EXP pots, and it gives players that have them a huge advantage in leveling. Now, if it were up to me, I would have it only be up to maybe 10%. If I can haggle it down, maybe even down to 5. But I understand Daybreak gotta make that money out players trying to race level cap for their Reddit post. Bags and backpacks. Now we're treading into controversial waters. Currently, you can buy 12 slot bags, with some having their own cosmetics to them for the back. Now, 12 slots is not absolutely game-breaking, as there were already 12 and 16 slot bags being sold on the broker when the level cap was 22, but the problem is that it completely shafts the players making bags below 12 slots. Because why spend your hard-earned in-game money for bags when you can just spend your regular hard-earned money for a bunch of 12 slot bags early on and be able to loot more and have an advantage over players who don't buy them? Mounts. Oh boy, here we go. I'm starting this now, but there are a staggering amount of bot mounts in the game. These are both for speed and cosmetic reasons. Again, this is kind of pay to win, as a player who buys them out early will be able to get the gathering nodes, overworld names, and all sorts of other stuff faster than someone who doesn't have them. Now, I've heard the mounts bought in-game with in-game currency like platinum and status points are better speed-wise, and I hope that's true. But even if that is true, the cash shops bring a bigger problem. The problem is that these cosmetic mounts dilute the game. Because if everyone was running around on these highly shiny, fancy mounts, then no one is special. Back in base EQ2, you only had horses, armored horses, and maybe if you're lucky, a ghost horse. So having a cheaper option to get a mount cheapens the experience. If you're going to add a mount, make it only the horse with the unique pack on the back, and you have to make it faster than pathfinding, but definitely way slower than CeeLo speed, and maybe even slower than Spirit of the Wolf. So thankfully, currently there are no armor or weapon cosmetics in the cash shop that I could find. Now, I know some people want them in the game, but like I said, it cheapens the experience. Here's an example. Here are 2 weapons on this character. One of them is from completing a long quest that involves raiding, and one of them is just bought from the cash shop. I think that weapons like this should be rare, and the players who go through the effort to get them should stand out more than the players who didn't earn them. End story. Alright, sorry, cash shops get me all riled up. Anyways, I'm thinking that a lot of this stuff was just dumped straight from the live cash shop, and it wouldn't surprise me if they put some of the stuff on there to kind of test the waters, and I sure am testing it. Cash shop grievances aside, it seems like they're really trying to get the Origin server in the right direction. Will they be able to finish the server up to snuff for launch? Only time will tell. Now, that said, I will be doing another update video like this one, closer to the launch of the Origin server beta, so be sure to tune in for that. But I'm still excited for this server, and I will probably be streaming the hell out of it when it launches. You can see my streams for this either on Twitch or here on YouTube down in the description. Now, for all you people who really want all that delicious meat, let's get into them patches. We are going to go over the beta updates that we've had. So let's start off with Beta Update 5.3.2024 Itemization. Updated many skills, spell scrolls, classifications to add to broker sorting. Added house item classification to the brokers. Added successful skill to Sergeant Scimitar and zone populations. Updated the housing function on... Hold on. Updated player housing to function on an Origin server. So housing works. Repopulated Deathless Citadel, which is nice because it's, even though at this time the level cap was level 12, so it's nice that they're actually working on stuff that players don't have access to. And I'm pretty sure Deathless Citadel is like level 30-ish, is that right? And it's in Zek the Orcish Waste, so obviously no one's going to be able to even content that content. It's like 20 levels above them. Corrected an issue with Krono's trade skill zones that prevented them from being populated crafting devices. Added zone to forest runes, or added door. Added revived junctions to the caves and the down below. This is important because they've had a lot of issues with the revived junctions, and you'll see this in the future patches. Quest, a missing husband, the missing Marv is now less missing, so he can be found while he is missing. Dead Explorer may now be found in Fallen Gate. Here we have 5.4.2024 afternoon evening build. Updated attribute conversions to work from raw stat instead of modified stat, so smart races can do things better than not smart races. Added a new way or created an old way to modify spell damage, heals, etc. for attribute conversions. Intelligence will not only increase spell damage, I think this was a bug where it also like increased melee damage, just period. So it's good it's only for spell damage. Now there are some classes that do melee and spell damage, bards being one of them. So that's good. Wisdom will now increase heal amount. Not a change, but we've been asked not a change, but we've been asked about it enough. Increased mana is still based off your class's primary attribute. This functionality is still fully functional on live servers as well. So, I don't know exactly what that's in relevance to, but I assume people wanted to get like more mana from wisdom or intelligence, no matter what class you were. But it is what it is, I guess. Abilities. Finished a pass on wards to convert them to proper absorbable damage types. Itemization. Updated several weapons to have success skill for great success. Zones of population. Added respawn junctions to several more zones that were missing them. Death should be much more transitory. Corrected the zone out widgets in Thieves' Way to allow exiting to the hoods. Sent the sinking sand carpets back to Majul. They are a bit undercooked. So the carpets were there, but you couldn't use them. Updated a slew of on AOL enter triggers that were blocking quests. On AOL means you trigger something such as a flag that allows a bauble to use when entering specific locations and areas. And yes, this I'm working on a quest series right now, and that was a problem. It was kind of very iffy about getting into certain areas that actually wanted you to use it, but it got fixed here. 5/7, 2024. Corrected an issue that caused strength to increase damage of abilities. Strength will continue to increase the damage of melee abilities and inflicts X melee damage on target. The guild register will now accept your applications. It wasn't in before this. Wisdom will no longer increase heal amount. This was misremembered functionality from the squirrels that nest in my brain. So that's interesting. I don't know how healing is going to work out in the long run. Will it scale off intelligence instead of wisdom? Or is it like classes that aren't healers, if you have wisdom, you don't get like extra heals, like for necromancers, they can't like life tap and stuff. I don't know. Zones of populations, haunted house home should now have zone exits. Big Ben now has a stinky sewer exit. Trade Skiller's workshop off of Queen's Colony now has trade skill devices. Shinies that should have not been seen until later expansions should no longer be seen until later expansions. Good. More revive points fixed in more zones. They're trying. Antonica and Kamalan should now have some harvest now. Trade skills, whatever her name is, and Alfred of Ironforge will now accept your applications for crafting advancement. Corrected several more triggers that were blocking quest progression. Collection quests that are from future expansions can no longer be turned in or have collected pieces added to them. So if you didn't collect them before that, then you're SOL. Even though this is the beta and it's going to get wiped. Itemization. Updated several quivers to now correctly act as quivers instead of bags. Abilities. All wards should now have updated damage types now. Any ward that states it absorbs non-consolidated damage types is a bug. The 4 damage types are arcane, elemental, noxious, and physical. Okay. And now we are headed to 510. And obviously some of these are a lot smaller than other ones. General, melee damage effects are still an outgoing work to correct them to use strength for their damage multipliers. Corrected the mitigation curve for level 50 and below, so it isn't affecting values from 2013. This update is currently active on the beta server, but may not affect zones that start up after the change was published. The stable changes will go in the next beta update. Corrected an issue that prevented spell fizzles from triggering on Origin servers. So you can fizzle more now. Great. Trade skills. Found Alfred Ironforge and put him back to work. He was missing and now we found him. For first time pristine bonus experience has been re-added to the Origin servers. First time a character completes a craft at the pristine level, they will receive a bonus experience for the craft. I think this is true to how it was back in 2016. I didn't do a lot of crafting though back then. All items crafted by recipes have had their I am a trade skill product flag set, so that the correct handcrafted, mastercrafted, etc. tier will display. Collection binder NPC in Queen's Colony and Outposts of the Overlord will now display the collection feather. So before what would happen is you'd collect them, but you still had to find them. They didn't have like a little quest update. Caches for the quest Uncover the Caches may now be cashiered. Removed app the era mails being sent from trade skill traders. Zone population, several NPCs were standing on furniture, have been talked off a ledge. Several NPCs that were spawning out of the world bounds in the second city have been correlated, deleted, or removed several anti-gravity boxes in the common lands. Still more respawn points. We have too many zones. Corrected the exit locations for player houses. So you can see, and also, I believe, actually we can go over here and look, here, let's go over here. So to kind of go over exactly what's going on, the beta right now is May 2nd, it starts, and the cap is at 12. And then May 16th, which was like, I don't know, however many days ago, through May 22nd, it'll go up to 22, and the remaining time will be at the cap of 32. So I guess recently, yesterday, the cap was increased to 32, and the beta will end June 13th. So we're about halfway, a little bit more than halfway through the beta. But it sounds like the last 3 weeks are all going to be with the cap of 32. That said, I'm not going to be really pushing hard for the cap unless they give me like rewards for doing it, but I don't think they are. So you don't want to get burnt out on the content before it comes out. But anyways, that's kind of the mindset. So May 16th was when it was increased to 22. And this was right before, this was still like 5 days before that happened. And this is the day of the update. Beta cap has increased to 22. Experience tables have restored their 2006 state. For example, the experience required to progress from level 10 and 11 is now 5,000 instead of post-2008 3,800. Heroic tier experience reward multiplayers have also been adjusted down to their 2006 values as well. So I think 3 ships were giving a lot more experience, and now they're going to be giving less experience. So we're going to spend a lot of time in this realm. Finch, the in consideration marketplace beta merchant. I should have put a quote there. Finch, the, quote, in consideration marketplace beta merchant, will now sell several items in consideration to be included in the Origins marketplace. Finch's magic. Finch exists in both Quenos Harbor, and East Freeport simultaneously. So they added a vendor that lets you see what they're thinking about maybe adding for the cash shop, and I will be covering that, so don't worry. Melee attacks will now globally scale from strength instead of intelligence. Sorry to all you smart brawlers out there that know how to poke someone in the eyeball. Note, melee attacks denote abilities with specific effects that state melee damage. There is no difference between abilities that happen to be stored in your combat arts ability tab and your spells ability tab. Most abilities that increase mitigations have been converted to consolidated mitigations, and the duplicate values for multiple of the same type of mitigation have been trimmed. For example, an ability that used to provide crushing, slashing, and piercing mitigation now provides only 1 physical mitigation, not 3 types of physical mitigation. Torches should now be equipable items by default. Most items that increase mitigations have been converted. Is that almost items? So the same thing, but with items instead of abilities. Zone of populations. Origins maps have been restored to their clean 2006 glory. Before they didn't have like zone in, so this is good. Several sunken city spawns throughout the city are now actually nocturnal. Several revive points that were displaying raw zone strings instead of zone names have been corrected. Hargan I saw will now use a pickaxe when mining instead of being hardcore. He must have punched them or something. I don't know about this. Added more ways to flee from the down below. Krono Stylo shop will no longer have magical floating furniture. Tabby Copper Pot has been convinced to come down from her countertop. The Thurgoton Guild Hall house may now be purchased from Freeport, and Quino's Prestige housing portals on Origin servers. Quest, Task for Dawn. The wolf will now be more accessible and not hide behind invisible zone boundaries. More testing the ward updates for testing the ward. Timing, the night shift. Commandant, whatever, should now spawn. Fostergram will now offer more Fostergram quests. Snake Slaying may now be completed by speaking to Hunter Varnell. Quino sabotage targets are no longer floating in space. That was 16. 20. 5/20/2024. Here's a big one. 2006 racial traits have been rebuilt and implemented. We'll be showing that off. Revive Sickness should now sicken you once again. Auto attack range has been restored to its original 2-meter range, with NPC auto attacks range being restored to its original 2.6 meters. It's kind of weird, but I don't know why it's 2 for us and 2.6 for enemies, but whatever. There's probably some reasons I just don't understand them. Merchant prices have been adjusted to prevent buyback dupes. All abilities that cure war damage or increase mitigation should now have the corrected mitigation types of Elementa, Noxious, Magic, or Physical. I read that out of order, but don't worry about it. Zones and population. Slightly move the cave's respawn point to mitigate getting stuck in the furniture. Nice. Rebuilt several spawn camps in the following zones. They should spawn more now reliably. And I'm not going to read all these. You can look at them. And corrected pathing issues with zombies through the walls and the down below. Down below just keeps giving them trouble. They keep just having issues with the down below. Respawn points, zombies, God knows. But whatever. And then 520. I think this one's pretty. No, this is what we just read. My bad. 522, which is the latest one from 2 days ago when I'm recording this. General corrected an issue that prevented wisdom from properly increasing resists. Because I think wisdom is supposed to increase your resistances on all characters, no matter what class you are. Updated Froglog racial traits to remove duplicated cures, and corrected the cure types to be a more consolidated resist list. Corrected several stability issues that could cause crashes due to encounters trying to place themselves into invalid positions. Normalize the greed factor of merchants. Most purchased items will now be priced a bit higher and sell for a bit less. Trade skills, Dryland Arbor now has a valid harvest table, zones of population. Freeport 6-room house now has functioning doors. Move the revive tent in Sunken City to prevent characters from getting stuck in the boxes next to it. Quests. You may now collect mole rats from the mole rat pen in Assassin Revere once you've completed the quest for preventative maintenance. I think that's used for spawning a named on the Overlord's outpost. So now you can spawn them. A task for Davin will now display a waypoint following the wolf's tracks. So as you can see, it's gotten a fair bit of updates in these couple of weeks. Could they have added more? Maybe. But I will catch you guys on the flip side. Have a good one. Hey, can you please let us trade Krono? Come on, it's a little mini game for me. I just want to see how far. I mean, I'm only going to break the game a little bit. I'm not going to break it too much. Just let me trade him, please. Please let me trade with Kronos, please.